My girl stays home, takes care of the kids. That's right, makes me sandwiches, cleans up after me. Yeah, that's right, because I'm involved in a one-sided monogamous relationship. She's monogamous, I get to smash whoever I want. Because women are born with value. Their value is their tatas and their downstairs whoop whoops. Yeah, that's right. That's right. We as men, we have to create. We have to create our value. We have to build ourselves up because we're born with nothing. These are the stupidest things that I heard in the Louis Theroux documentary Inside the Manosphere from these creators that are the center of the Manosphere. Okay, welcome to Thoughts Off the Stem. I'm Justin Baroni. I hope that life's being good to you. Thank you for joining me for the sesh. And yeah, today we're talking about the tiny little children living inside of these grown-ass men that were featured on the Manosphere and some that were not featured on the Manosphere. I have a couple questions. My first question is this. When did we stop making fun of dudes that drive big trucks and supercars to overcompensate for their micro wee-wees? Yeah, that's right. Clearly that's what they're doing. Because like to me, I don't know about you, but when I grew up, okay, my version of a man could be very manly, tough, strong, out there. But what he always did was he always protected women. He always supported women. He would help the people around him progress, not take. These guys in the Manosphere, they just take, dude. That's all they do. Their whole persona is designed to get young men that have no direction and clearly half a brain, I mean obviously, so to follow them. They're just brainwashing these dudes, and they're brainwashing them so that these guys will pay for their luxurious lifestyles. Yep, that's right. That's what happens. And I don't think a lot of people are realizing this, until the Louis Theroux documentary. Because Louis Theroux did a really good job of making these guys look like little boys. And I think that it's insane. It's insane that this became like a movement. These guys obviously have no clue. They don't understand anything. Look at the Tate brothers. I call them the Taint brothers. Okay? Because you can't act like that if you're not stuck between balls and an asshole for a week or for your life. You know? That's just common sense. You don't act like those guys if you're not in between a shitty situation and a wrinkly hard place. That's all I'm saying, dude. These guys are nuts. And also, so everything is ultra masculine, right? So what they do is they'll make fun of anything that they deem not to be ultra masculine. And then they'll say the contradictory point. The contradictory point is something like this. Like this guy, HS Tiki Talkie. First of all, if you're going to be a dude in the Manosphere and you're going to be the guy that's telling guys how to be guys, should you really name yourself HS Tiki Talkie? Because that to me sounds like a 5-year-old's play toy. Like, that's not manly to me. You know, Sylvester Stallone, that's a manly name. Arnold Schwarzenegger, that's a manly name. Clint Eastwood, manly. HS Tiki Talkie. Sounds like something that makes music and lights up when you push its keys. You know, it does not sound like a dude that I would follow to learn how to be a man. Let's talk about him for a second here, okay? Because that guy in the documentary, he allowed Louis Theroux to follow him around, all right? And there were so many instances where he's obviously just provoking people to get reactions for social media and his creative content. And like, I get it, but at the same time, I think you should be trying to spread like a positive message, not a negative message. This guy's running around yelling F the Jews. He gets into a fight. This is the other problem with their Manosphere mentality, okay? So HS Tiki Talkie is yelling F the Jews, and then some Jewish dudes decide that that's not right, so we're going to kick your ass. So they fight him, right? He's getting manhandled until his entire team and bodyguards come in. If you're a man and you can handle yourself and you're willing to go out in public and talk like that in front of the people in front of anybody, you know you shouldn't be saying these things. You know you're going to provoke something, and then you're getting your ass handed to you, so your buddies come in and help you, and then you're like, oh, I'm so tough, I beat the shit out of that guy. No, you didn't. You didn't on your own, and you can't on your own. And clearly on your own, you're a wuss. But in a group of dudes that look up to you, all of a sudden, this bravado pops out of your chest, and you're all lion-y, and I'm the king of the jungle. No, you're fucking not, dude. if you are a man, as a man, you should be able to handle yourself. You should also be able to conduct yourself in a manner that is not fucked up. Okay? These guys are all just basically a bunch of frat guys that want to talk shit to make themselves feel better because their inner child rules their life. And you could see it in the documentary. When Louis Theroux was interviewing a bunch of these guys, they all started with the same thing. They all started talking about how women should be subservient to them, and how, you know, men have it worse because they have to build something from nothing, where women have, you know, tits and vaginas, and that is their value. Are you kidding me, dude? The value of a person is not based on their physical attributes, it's based on their character. And obviously you're full of shit. I've dealt with guys like that. Like back when I was in university, okay, I had this one dude, he was a football player, and he thought because I like to joke around that I was dumb, and that he could make fun of me to, you know, progress his own personal want for this one girl, I guess. So we were out front smoking a joint, whatever. I'm talking, just sort of being goofy and messing around. And then this guy starts making fun of me to try and get this girl to laugh that he likes. Well, that was a bad move, because if you make fun of me in like, I'm all about having fun. I'll play off you. I'll listen, and I'll feed into it. I'll make you look good if I have to. If you try to make me look bad, I'm going to make you look worse. Okay? That's the way it works. That's man shit. Playing the fucking game and not being the dude that being the dude that is okay with everybody and is trying to get along with everybody, and then when things get out of line, you're the guy that steps in and solves the problem. To me, that's a man. Okay? A man is not a guy that's all about like, bitch, get in the kitchen, make me a sandwich, clean up my room, it's fucking dirty, I got something to do. Don't talk to that guy because it makes me feel insecure. If you're insecure because your woman is talking to somebody else, you got problems. You should probably break up with her to like relieve her of the duty of having to be with you, and you should go see a psychologist because there's something wrong with you. And a lot of these guys shared that mentality. And you could see when Louis Theroux questioned them on certain things, you could see that inner child pop out, where they're clearly creating a persona that they know is controversial. I think they believe some of what they say, but they're creating a persona that is somewhat controversial, right? And they're trying to push that persona. And then these young men who don't have any kind of like guideline to follow or to know about what it is to be a man, because either they didn't have a dad or they had a tough upbringing or whatever, they look up to these guys because it's like, yeah, I'm asserting my dominance. You can assert dominance in different ways. Have you ever seen the sport of jiu-jitsu? Jiu-jitsu teaches you that no matter who you are, what you are, how big you are, how small you are, you can assert your dominance on somebody else, provided that you learn this specific set of techniques. That's kind of like life, dude. As somebody that goes through life, you should be able to learn and adapt, and not, you should never cut off other people for your own personal gain. You should never use other people for your personal gain. You should be able to incorporate other people for your gain. You know what I mean? Like, I know that sounds kind of weird, but that's what I mean. Like, they're liars. They're con artists. They're full of shit, dude. And a lot of these young kids, these young men, look up to them thinking that's how you have to be a man. That's not how you have to be a man. That's the worst way to be a man. Also, supposedly, I remember seeing an article way back when, I guess Andrew Tate took a kickboxing fight, and he was talking about how he kicked the shit out of this other dude. Again, this is, let's talk about manly stuff. This is not manly to me. This guy said after the fight, after he got beat up and he lost, he said, yeah, I took the fight and then I threw the fight so that I could make millions and millions of dollars. To me, that's not a dude. That says a lot about your character. Your character is only about the money. You're willing to, run through a whole facade and con people into doing something so that you can improve your own personal wealth. That's bullshit, dude. I understand creating a persona and acting in that persona. Do it. This is a persona. This isn't all of me. This is a part of me, but this is what I think people, this is what I want to sort of present to people, right? Just a guy that's trying to have fun, has a few rants, maybe seems a little old sometimes. But I would never put myself, I would never give up a fight. I would never lose a fight on purpose just for the money. I would much rather win the fight. I have that much pride. I don't know about these other dudes, because these other dudes seem to just say and do whatever they want just to get a reaction, which is bullshit. I don't know how you can have people on your staff that can either be gay, Jewish, women, whatever, and you spew hate speech towards them or about them out in the public, and then when the cameras turn around and catch you on your own, you go, oh no, I have no problem with all, if you don't have, I have no problem with all these people. If you don't have a problem with those people, you wouldn't fucking talk like that. Like, I get it when you're joking around with your buddies and you say some offside shit, or, you're trying to make people laugh and you say some offside shit. I get that. But these guys aren't saying offside shit. They're inciting stupid crap. They're inciting young men to believe that they can gain something by acting this way, but in actuality, all they're doing is they're brainwashing these young men into giving them money for courses that don't do anything. They're brainwashing this young generation to fuel their pockets because they come up with all these cryptocurrencies, these, betting sites and OnlyFans and all this stuff to try and get you to separate from your money. That's what they're doing. If you don't recognize this, young men, listen to me. If you don't recognize this, that's exactly what they're doing. They don't give a shit whether or not you succeed. They're not actually out there trying to make sure that you do that. When you come up to them and you see that smile and you hug them and they're being all, animated and loving it, you know why they are? Because they know that you're feeding in to whatever it is that they're trying to do and trying to portray. And that means money to them. So they're just seeing dollar signs, ching, 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 and every time you go up and say, oh, you're the best, I love that you talk about this and that, it's bullshit. Don't act like that. That's not the way to be. However, having said that, that has been a technique throughout time. It's men, politicians, advertisers have used this as a way to get the public to glom on to whatever it is they're doing. And so for this week's Weed Facts, we're going to talk about a group of cranky old men that did exactly this without social media in order to criminalize cannabis.
Attention, cannabis consumers. Attention, cannabis consumers.
So this week's Weed Facts come from cannabismuseum-amsterdam.com, the Great Hemp Wars. And the idea behind this is that, like I said before the break there, that there was a group of old, rich, white politicians that criminalized or worked towards criminalizing cannabis for their own personal gain, even though the use of hemp and cannabis would have been a much better situation for all of society. So the tactics that these Manosphere dudes take now are not new. They're tactics that have been done for years. You just have to figure out where you're going to point that. So in keeping with the Manosphere ideology and its high level of self-absorbed nonsense, let's talk about how a group of old rich white guys successfully lobbied to criminalize marijuana because they didn't really want to make life better for everyone. They just wanted to line their pockets. The first guy, William Randolph Hearst, I don't know if you've heard about him, but he was very heavily involved in the pulp and paper industry. And back in the early 1900s, this dude, 1930s roughly, this dude was worth $200 million. That's like owning the moon today. Do you need more money? You can't convert pulp and paper factories over to hemp textile mills, or pulp and paper mills to hemp textile factories. You can't do that. I feel like you could have in the 1930s. I feel like that would have been pretty easy. In 1935, DuPont released nylon to the world. It was made from petroleum. It was hailed as the future of fabric. It was perfect for everything from stockings to parachutes. And the only problem was that hemp was a huge threat to it because of its versatility as well. Hemp is super strong. Hemp is durable. Hemp is better for paper. It's better for clothing, even though it's itchy. But essentially, it's a much better product because it's eco-friendly, right? So hemp became a quick threat to this newfound technology and the company's profits, so DuPont decided it had to go. Along with William Randolph Hearst, DuPont, William Randolph Hearst, and Harry J. Anslinger, who was the first commissioner of the U.S. Federal Bureau of Narcotics, was all about control. Yep, he was appointed there, and then he decided that he had to, in order to solidify and grow his career and make a name for himself, he decided that he was going to be the face of making sure that hemp cannabis became criminalized and then no longer usable by society or by industry, right? So this guy, he was all about control. He needed to make a name for himself so badly. He set his sights on creating a monster out of cannabis, and he utilized the tactics we see on social media today. That's right. He would create fear. He'd divide the public. He'd spew hate and lies and make something relatively harmless the worst evil imaginable. Kind of like the bully who can't fight but is well versed in gaslighting you and then wonders why his head is in the toilet later. Okay? So in order to achieve the ultimate decimation of their competitors, Hearst started printing articles in his newspapers, magazines, wherever he could, and advertisements and other documentation to support claims cannabis would make you a killer. So he put out articles saying, "Oh, this guy killed his person because he was on weed." No, that would never happen. That didn't happen. If you've got that happening, that's a psychosis issue. That's not necessarily the weed, right? DuPont got political and sent their network of lobbyists to Washington to target marijuana for political assassination. Assassination. Yeah, that's right. They started hammering Washington with the idea that, this hemp is bad. Hemp is horrible, and hemp and cannabis together are killers. They'll turn your family into crazy people. They'll turn your loved ones on you. Like, everything bad can happen here because of this one little plant, right? Now, Aslinger was essentially their talking head. He would spew hate and lies and ensure the public became haunted by their fear, right? Or by fear, sorry, by an imaginary fear. Yeah, that's right. So they did all of this together because in 1937 they wanted to support the Marijuana Tax Act, so that enabling that instituting that actually made hemp and cannabis together illegal. So now nobody can use it in industry, nobody can use it in production, and you definitely can't use it to smoke it. So guess what? 1937, the Marijuana Tax Act of 1937 became the essential starting point of the war on drugs. That's right. And these guys, these cranky old white dudes who were worth a shit ton of money, just like the Tate brothers, and HS Tiki Talkie, the pull toy from your living room, okay? They too use those tactics in order to gain attention, to gain a following, to have this massive amount of support. And to sum it up, cannabis became illegal because a group of fat rich white guys took the world's largest temper tantrum, and it kind of reminds you of these Manosphere dudes, doesn't it? They utilized lies, brainwashing, and fear to gain or maintain enormous wealth.
Attention, cannabis consumers.
If you think that these Manosphere dudes, brought in some kind of new thing that people didn't think, they haven't. They're just using tactics that they know work to get attention. Maybe they do believe some of this stuff, but the belief in the fact that women should be at home making sandwiches, taking care of the kids, and doing whatever, like, that's so stupid. Like, these guys, I don't even think these guys realize like how fucked up that ideology is. I don't think that they realize the irony in how they act, because everybody's like a walking contradiction to a certain extent, right? You just try to be the best that you can be at things. And these guys aren't really trying to be the best they could be at things, because if you watch the Manosphere, you'll see on some of these podcasts that are featured in it, they bring in women that are shallow as well. Like, they don't debate anybody with half a brain. They debate stupid people looking for stupid things that are very superficial. And they do it because they're slightly less superficial. No, not even. They're fully superficial too, but they're slightly less stupid than the people that they bring in. Like, any time that they used Louis Theroux or anytime that they talked to Louis Theroux, he would turn around and say to them something like, well, why do you do this? Right? And it seems weird that you would act like this in front of her, and then this and that. And you would always see the guys do one or two things. They would retreat into themselves, okay? And then they would like drop their head, and they really did look like little boys. They didn't look like men. Like they would play off their ideas, and they would play off their how they see the world as like, well, you just don't really understand our situation. And it's like, no, we understand your situation. You want control. You had no control when you were a kid. You have no control. You have really no control now, but you're trying to exert control and dominance over somebody. And the only person that you can do that over is the woman that you have in your house taking care of your kids. Instead of, treating her like the person that she should be and an equal, you're treating her as less than. And the fucked up part is that there are women out there that will allow that to happen without an issue. And it's, oh, my life is good anyway. I think that both sides of this whole thing, the women that get involved in the manosphere, the dudes that get involved in the manosphere, I think that there is some kind of trauma in their childhood that makes them stay involved or think that this is the way to be. And I'm not trying to be like all super feminist or anything like that. I'm just saying that as a man, I take offense to the manosphere claiming that's how to be a man. Okay? Because that's not how you be a man. You take care of what you take care of your family, you take care of yourself, you take care of your wife, and you support all of them as well. You don't try to keep them down because you have to fill your pride and your ego meter all the way up because you're the man and you do things the way you do things. You know what a man does? A man is this. If you're stuck in, let's say you go hiking on your own and your arm gets stuck in a boulder. Yeah, that's right. I'm 127 hours in this bitch. Okay? A man cuts off his arm and goes home. Those guys are going to sit there wishing that they could cut their arm off, but they can't. That to me is a man. A man defends his family. A man doesn't hide them. A man doesn't, if you're a man, I get that all people have different kinds of relationships, but as a man, to me, you should, if you're in a relationship, you should be in that relationship. You shouldn't be fucking around with other people unless you both decide that, hey, we want a third party and that's what we do. We got frickin', fine, cool. If that's your thing, great. But I just think that, you should be considerate of the person that you're with. And I don't find any of these guys to be that considerate. And the biggest problem with this stuff is like I said, as kids, they still have that inner child that's kind of, that's like, that controls them. Like if you could open up those humans and inside them was like a little alien guy running them, it's their inner child. It's like, those little bobbleheads or whatever. You'd pull it out and be like, hey, what's going on? How are you doing? That's what that is to me. So today's Dude for Real segment is all about dummies or dopes. I like to call people that don't know things dopes. This is all about dopes or dummies that have said some of the dumbest shit about women I've ever read. Dude, for real? For real, dude. So this Dude for Real segment is brought to you, it comes from BuzzFeed.com, Things Men Said About Women. Dumb things, stupid things men said about women. I'll put the article in the show notes. I'll put them on tots420.com so you can read them. But these are essentially, posts from Reddit or wherever around the internet that dumb dudes said about women. So the first one we got here is this guy. He goes, why do women even need gynecologists? It's just another excuse for women to pretend their vaginas have so many problems and get the gender-oriented pity party they crave. In reality, it's little more than a pussy social visit and a puff of perfume. Let's face it, if women's vaginas really did have enough problems to warrant going to a doctor, then that's because they can't keep their legs closed and use them too much to manipulate men. This is why I'm MGTOW. I think that's men going their own way. Now, this person responded, for the record, there's a medical specialty called urology, which is specifically a penis doctor. Women only need to go to a gyno if they're sexually active or have a specific problem. So here's the thing. I think this is two guys arguing over this, and quite honestly, neither of them really understands it. Okay? You need to go. You need to make sure, like, there's pH levels, dude. See? That's what I'm saying. Like, guys don't learn, man. Talk to your woman. See what the deal is. Learn, listen, understand. Now, this guy is talking about the fact that apparently women don't poop. Okay? So he starts with, dude, those were videos, dude, not real life experiences. Women can't poop while they're fertile. We know baby girls poop since people change their diapers all the time. And we also know old ladies poop because my grandma pooped herself in the car one time. Babies and old ladies can't have babies. So they poop just like men. But fertile girls don't poop because that would turn off a man. Think of why girls complain about having diarrhea during their menstrual cycles. Because they've stored up 27 to 29 days worth of poop, and it's all hitting them at once, which is a lot to endure. Women can't get pregnant during their menstrual cycles, which is why they poop then. Pregnant women also complain about having rough shits, and guess what? They're already pregnant. You can't be double pregnant. And so they poop uninhibited. You cannot prove me wrong. Okay, first of all, Dopey McDoperson. That is asinine. I hope that guy's like 5. That's the only explanation for this shit. I don't even know what to say to that. So here's the next one. So, because it's a seller's market, men have sex drives. They want sex. Even with women who may be less attractive than they could get with tons of work. So take the easy way out. Women don't have sex drives. They aren't hammered with a desire to have sex regardless of the partner. As such, they date up because their target is willing to date down. Women maximize the quality. Men maximize the quantity. It's why across multiple species, including humans, nature has men creating harems of women and women chase alpha males. It is what it is. Control your sex drive as a male and you'll be better off. Sadly, this doesn't happen because men are idiots. No. Why do dudes only think in terms of sex? Like, all of this stuff has been about either vaginas or butts, or the fact that they don't want to use their vaginas or their butts. Okay? Let's talk about this for a second. Where'd that guy go? He's right here. Okay, so, like, sir, whoever wrote this, please go talk to your mother. Or somebody. Like, fine, you need a female role model. Okay? Because that's insane. If I were being honest in my relationship right now, I could tell you for a fact that if you saw it from the outside, you'd be like, that guy has no sex drive. But his girl sure does. Just saying. This next dude says, I never understood how people, especially women, just refuse or don't want to have sex. See, sex again, man. It's dudes. That's not all women. That's not what all women are for. Like, that's not it. That's not their whole existence. They somehow believe that sex is unnatural. It's like saying you don't want food to go into your mouth and that the act of chewing is too much to bear or something. She literally can lay on her back, use some lubricant, and go to sleep. There's nothing more to be done there, literally. And the guy will last all of 3 to 5 minutes with a condom on. No difference from using a dildo, a hard object going into a hole that isn't meant to go into. That it's meant to go into. Women can have zero attachment, barely even feel their small dick, and then go right back to watching a movie and eating some popcorn. Like, how are y'all pretending like a natural lubricated hole where a penis is supposed to go equals such a torturous act? Who are these women? I think he's, one of those dudes that hides in alleys and steals people, you know what I'm saying? Maybe he's part of the Epstein list. Who knows? It's no different than drinking a glass of water, even if you're not really thirsty at all. It won't kill you. Somebody really needs to get laid. This guy, I'm sure, has never got his dinky stinky, not even one time. Now, this last guy might be a psychopath, okay? Because this is the most insane thing that I have ever heard in my life. If I had this thought, I would never tell it to anybody. So here we go. Do Stacy's get wet during school shootings? Yep, that's a headline. That's what this guy wrote. Bear with me. Mandatory preface. I'm not condoning violence. Rather, I'm merely inquiring about female biology. Now that's a man trick to try and pretend like he's not a chauvinist douchebag or misunderstanding of every principle ever taught to him. So, we all know that women love attractive, dominant men. Within the context of a school shooting, yeah, because that's where we're going to. Let's put the heaviest amount of fear and terror into somebody and let's see if they want a bone, okay? The shooter is unequivocally the most dominant man that is, the shooter transcends his current status in the dominance hierarchy and temporarily becomes an ultra Chad. So he is now the most dominant person because he has a gun and he's shooting people, right? Given the female's close proximity to this ultra Chad during the shooting, one can reasonably conjecture that the females, although scared for their life, experience extreme sexual arousal and attraction towards the shooter, hoping that perhaps, rather than shooting them, the shooter has sexual intercourse with them instead. Is my theory correct? Have studies been conducted on this? No, fuckface. Nobody does studies on that because that's what psychopaths want to know. You should watch the Ed Gain story because you're the next guy that's going to actually turn people's skin and bones into bowls and chairs. That's what I think. That's a fucked up question. Dude, for real? For real, dude. So basically, the moral of today's story is that acting like one of these dudes from the Manosphere, having this like heavily one-sided misogynistic attitude towards life is not actually very helpful. All it is like it creates a cult-like following amongst like young men that don't know any better. If you're gonna be a dude or a talking head that's you know supposed to be out there trying to help young men, I think you have to give them a much better balanced perspective on life and everything else, because acting the way that the Tate brothers act, acting the way that this HS Tiki-Taki dude acts, like, that's not being a man. Being a man is taking care of your responsibilities, being confident, self-confident, you know, not worrying about, like, whether your girl is talking to a dude or looks at a dude or this or that. Like, I want, if a dude hits on my girl, I want her to be like, fuck you, which she would, but that doesn't mean she can't talk to people. Like, that's fucking retarded. That's insane. That's all I'm saying. I don't think that any of this manosphere shit is healthy for anybody. I don't even think it's healthy for the people that are, you know, putting on the persona, because how many times have we seen over the course of history where people start, you know, really pushing that persona? Next thing you know, that becomes their whole character, really fucks them up. That's my opinion. And those are my thoughts off the stem for this week. Thanks for joining the sesh with me, Justin Baroni. I hope you come back next week to Thoughts Off the Stem. Check out tots420.com. I just put up, if you're into weed stuff, I actually just put up a 5-chapter blog series about Cannabis 101. So if you're experienced in cannabis, don't worry about it. I mean, it'd be fun to read the website. It'd be nice to see you go there. But if you're new to cannabis, it'll give you an outline of what to actually expect and you know how it works and all that fun stuff in a very bare basic form, so that you, if you're thinking of trying it and you're getting into it or you want to get into it, then you know where to start and you know where to do or know how to do it and how to handle it. Yeah, so check that out. Leave me comments. Subscribe, like if you enjoy the episodes. Tell your friends, get them to subscribe, like, share. The more people that we can get listening to this, the easier it is for me to keep going. And then hopefully eventually we can start doing live ones where we talk while we're seshing, because this is what it is. It's a sesh. It's supposed to be fun. Till next time. Keep your lids low, baby.